Okay, 2.2 papers per second. If you've ever seen it, like that per, using the slash for a per. Okay, like in miles per hour. Okay, papers per second. That's not official. We're just doing that here. Papers per second. Okay, so that is our rate. We have to attach a unit there, and that's our unit right there. Okay, now unit rate is where we can just go 2. Here, 2.2, 2.4, and then 3. Okay? So, yes indeed. Okay, let's go ahead and make a comparison of two quantities that are measured in the same units by comparing the ratio of boys to girls in our grade 7 math support class and for a couple of different classes. All right, so class 1, that'll be our math support class here, grade 7. And I'll tell you right now what we have enrolled, and again, this might not be true the entire year, but we have 11 boys, we have 13 girls. Okay, 11 boys and 13 girls. Now, if you, I'm sure you could do this, and we could just figure this out. Kind of icky numbers, to tell you the truth. Not really great to work with, but we know we're going to do a ratio of boys to girls. Okay, that would be 11 to 13. Okay, 11 to 13. All right. Now, class 2 we're going to use the grade 7 writing courses class. I teach Lit Club, and when we have our 7th graders, we will have 13 boys. 13 boys and 28 girls. Okay, that's a big class. Okay, 13 boys, 28 girls. That is not right. I'm sorry. I don't want to do this all over again, but let me take that out. Sorry, 13 boys and 15 girls. Whew. This ratio here is 13 to 15. 13 to 15. Whew. Okay. Again, not really fun to work with, but anyway, so our whole 7th grade, roster here at Hickman Charter School, we have 39 boys. Oh man, I am having a tough time here, guys. 39 boys and 36 girls. Okay, 39 to 36. All right. So one of these we could actually simplify or find an equivalent fraction for. The others just have a 1 or even 2 prime numbers in them, so we can't mess with those. But yeah, this one here, 39 to 36, we could actually work with. I see right away that 3. Okay, so 3, that's going to give us, we divide 19 by 3, that's 13 to 12. 13 to 12. So, in a sense, these are all looking somewhat similar, but if you will notice something, one of them is different in one way. Okay, if you notice that in over here we have, this is all, again, these are boys to girls. Okay, these ratios are written that way, very, very important. Okay, we have a ratio is of fewer boys to girls here. Fewer boys to girls here. But if you notice, as a whole school, we have more boys than girls. And again, if you looked at all of these, 11 to 13, 13 to 15, 13 to 12, very, very close to a ratio of 1 to 1. Okay, and again, they don't equal that. They are not equivalent necessarily to 1 to 1, but close enough to to 1 to 1. And who knows? By the time the end of the year nears, they may be at 1 to 1. One very practical use of unit rates and ratios is when you're shopping. I'm going to read this exercise 1, which is the better buy. I'm going to read it out loud, and then I'm going to have you pause the presentation and try to figure it out yourself. Do it yourself, and then we'll come back. I'll come back and just discuss it with you. Okay? So here we go. Value Mart is advertising a back-to-school sale on pencils. A pack of 30 sells for $7.97, whereas a 12-pack of the same brand costs $4.77. See, they made a little typographical error here, huh? Yeah. Yes, so which is the better buy, and how do you know? Okay, so I'd like to see if you could use some of our discussion on unit rate and ratio to figure this out. Pause now and come back after you're done. Now, when you're doing a problem like this, there usually are more than one way to solve it. So one way would be this. So if we looked at the pack of 30, for example, we know it's $7.97 for every 30. Okay, for every 30. And then we have $4.77 for every 12 here. Okay, for a pack of 12. Now, we could change this. We could, if we looked at these numbers here, and if we could see a common multiple, and again, these common multiple comes in handy, and that's why I wanted you guys, those of you who needed a little bit of assistance, is to actually study that during the summer, and hopefully you can look and eventually be able to look at 30 and 12 and know that the least common multiple, looking at LCM of these two, is 60. Okay, so if we did that, and now we're actually comparing to the same number. So in this case, you had, up here you had 797 for every 30. 477 for every 12. Now we're going to do them both, so they're both going to be for every 60. Okay, so if we did the math here, this would be 1594 here for every 60, because that's just multiplying by 2 here. Okay, and here we're multiplying by 5 to get from 12 to 60. So we're going to come up with $23.85 here. So right away, and you can see, for $15.94 for 60, or $23.85 for 60. Okay, so right away we know that our better buy is the 30. Okay, we could also look at it. We could just do straight enough. We've found a rate, and we know rate involves division. Okay, so if we had $7.97 and we divided that by our 30, we would get a unit rate of 27 cents per pencil. Okay, so 0.27 per pencil, and on this side, if we did the same division, we would come up with 40 cents per pencil. Okay, and that's dividing 477 by 12. Okay, so as you can see here, very clear, we're paying 27 cents per pencil there, 40 cents per pencil there, and again another check mark for the 30 pack. Okay, yeah, and our unit rate, if we just look at very obvious by doing that rate calculation, we know our unit rate here. Okay, is 27 cents. And here, 40 cents per pencil. Okay. So yeah, hopefully you got that. I'm not whichever way you did figure it out. I hope it did work out for you. Maybe some of you were able to actually look at it and know right away. You could use common sense or use an estimate by just looking at, for example, 477 and 797. Okay, you know that 797 is not even 2 times as much as 477, but 30 is more than 2 times, or 2.5 times 12. Okay, so so you can look at it that way. Again, several ways to do it. The unit rate is always a wonderful thing to look at, and so let's go ahead and look over here. I want to just go over this this slide as a lesson summary. Okay, when we talk about unit rate, it is often useful as a means for comparing ratios and their associated rates. Okay, when measured in different units. Okay, very often it's confusing. I mean, we could be very confused if we're looking at maybe in one sense you have you going to the store to buy milk. Okay, if you're buying a gallon of milk, maybe it's $4 per gallon. But then there's a quart of milk, which may be $1.97 per quart. There's a lot of figuring out to do. So what they often do is they often go down to per ounce. Okay, so they try to get a familiar unit, and that's what this unit rate, it tries to come up with a familiar unit of comparison. Okay, and it makes it much easier to compare. Okay, and again, when you go to the grocery store with your mom or your dad, you've probably seen this before. The unit rate allows us to compare varying size of quantities by examining the number of units, one quantity. Okay. All right. So, this value of the ratio is that unit rate, and that's that last sentence right here. Very powerful. And again, here's this little last slide before we get you going onto your problems and your exit ticket, which I'll explain in a second. So, unit rates are used to compare. At the grocery store, for example, they are used to determine which is the best deal on a product you're buying. A unit rate helps you get the best value despite the different sizes, brands, sales, etc. And here you can see mild cheddar cheese. And very often, if you buy a larger size, not always the case, but very often. So here, the Kroger Fancy Shredded Mild 16 ounces is $4.99. Okay, and then in this case here, you have the 8 ounce for $2.69. Now, okay, we can do that division. We can bring a calculator with us to the store, but many stores have actually I think it could be a law by now in many places, but they will go ahead and do this per unit or this unit rate for you. So you'll see here. Oops, I don't want to use that one because that one doesn't look good. But you can see right here for the 16 ounce size is 31.2 cents per ounce, and over here 33.6 cents per ounce. So you know that this one's going to be the better deal. So when you go to a grocery store, start looking at those unit rates and let them help you. Okay, so finally, it's time for you to work on your own. And what I'd like you to do is to go ahead and do the problem set for this lesson 1 in your spiral journal, okay, that I had asked you to purchase. And then go ahead and do the exit ticket, okay? And the exit ticket is more or less a formative assessment. It's something you would do in class not before you be able to leave, but upon exiting, at the very end, the exit ticket would be given out if we were in a daily class, and you would do it, and then you hand it in. It was more or less just a formative assessment just to see if you understood the lesson and you understand the concept thus far. So the answers are actually at Google Classroom. I don't have, most of us don't have access to that yet. Well, I won't say most of us, but I don't think anyone's really gone there. A couple people have. So those of you who have addresses will be able to get on. Those of you who do not,